during the end year break, there are so many social occasions with both friends and family, which bring us such joy. When it comes to time to going back to our regular routine, though, we often feel quite daunted. I want to talk a little bit about that, ladies. I was saying to you in the break that it seems as though January is like Monday on steroids. You know, people, you know, just this anxiety of I'm going back to work or I'm going back to school. And we spoke a lot about young people and what they go through, adolescents in particular. Let's speak about the people that are having to go back to work, particularly if it's the first time that you're going to be working ever in your life.
So I think many people have this idea that they want to put the challenges aside and look only for the opportunities, or they only see the challenges and they don't see the opportunities. So coming to the end of the year is a time to start slowing down, to take a break, to look forward to time with family and friends and connectedness and the joy of the festivities. But they then kind of block it and categorize the new year into another mind frame. So they push it aside and they forget about it. Come the night before, they realize, oh my gosh, I have this new job, I have to prepare. They're not organized enough. So it's really important to go with the right attitude and to not have these high expectations, or to have no expectations where you haven't had any time to think and process what your new year would look like. So make time to visualize what it is you want for your new year. Think about what you'd like to bring into the new year. Reflect on the last year. What worked, what didn't work? What were the gifts? What were the challenges? What can I learn so that I can take with me in the new year? I think for many people, they basically lump things in categories and then they don't really engage with the before and the after. And often that can set up a whole lot of anxieties the night before you're having to start your new year.
Nazia, with Joanna talking about engagement, I would also imagine that in whatever environment you're going to be, whether it's school or work or university, there are going to be people in whatever environment you're going to be in. So speak to us a bit about, there might be people that have social phobias. We don't talk a lot about that, but shed some light on that.
Yes, social phobia is when people experience anxiety communicating with others and socializing with others. It doesn't come naturally to everyone. Everyone is different. Some people are able to communicate and form relationships much easier than others. So going into new environments, you do tend to experience anxiety, which is normal for everyone. You know, trying to form relationships, trying to speak to people. Some people are extremely shy and reserved, and then after a month or two, their personality really comes out. So it's absolutely normal. You do see it as a problem when your social phobia or your anxiety is affecting the way you communicate. You're not able to speak to someone easily. You feel that anxiety in terms of, you know, shaking, nervousness, your throat gets closed up. Those are all signs of anxiety that needs to be addressed.
And how real is that, Joanna?
It's very real, and there are two aspects that we need to consider here. One is the personality. So you might be the kind of person that's more introverted. You like to gauge energy by being with yourself or in solitude. That doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a social anxiety disorder. Social phobia is really a disorder which impacts the way that you engage with the world because you feel embarrassed or criticized by being in a social setting. So when you're speaking in a small group or you engaging with people, you have this heightened sense of high judgment, and people are criticizing and I feel so embarrassed. And then what you want to do is to avoid those situations. And then that's where the anxiety disorder perpetuates itself, because you don't want to engage yourself with those people because you're feeling that it's going to constantly continue.
I would imagine, though, that going into a new environment for a person that does have a social phobia will probably exacerbate that feeling.
Absolutely, because they then have these lopsided perceptions that the world is laughing at me, they're humiliating me, I feel so embarrassed, I'm not coping with all of this. So the perception of how they get perceived by others is really, really heightened and it's seen in a very negative light. And that then will manifest in thoughts, emotions, and physiological disturbances. So the hyperaroused state, the heart palpitations, the shakiness, and the avoidance in not wanting to re-engage in that. And you can imagine, if you're starting new work, you need to earn income, you need to engage with people who are resources. It could be a huge, huge challenge. And often you'll find then it will then trigger off panic attacks. You don't want to then, you know, you want to isolate yourself, then that could then trigger off a feeling of hopelessness. Then you're losing interest in things you found pleasurable, then that could trigger off
and just spirals
depression.
out of control, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Nazia, a person phones you, because somebody who's probably watching this and thinking, they've just described me right there. What would you advise for them to do?
Give SADAG a call. If you are experiencing this, you're not sure whether you're experiencing this, give SADAG a call. We're open 7 days a week from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening, and there will always be a counselor at the other end willing to listen and offer you some advice. It does not mean that if you're experiencing all of this, your life has ended or it's all doom and gloom. There is help available. No matter what the situation is, no matter how severe it is, there is help available. You can make adjustments to how you're feeling in order for you to cope better with your new environment later on.
And also you were talking, yes, you wanted
And it's very treatable. So anxiety disorders are one of the most treatable disorders that you can work with. So if you are struggling and you recognize here at this time that you've had these attacks, these social phobia attacks, if I can call them, there's time in this period to go and invest in yourself. Seek therapy, phone SADAG, get the resources. You know, one of the things that I love about the depression and anxiety group is they always say, look at the resources that you have available in your community. If you don't have medical aid, find out from your church or your pastor or from a clinic in your area. There's always help available. There are friends, and they might not be qualified, but they will at least give you a trusting, helping ear where you can feel at least that you're not losing your mind. So, and you're feeling again connected to the world. So you're reaching out, you're not feeling, you know, completely isolated in this problem.
And that is so important when you talk about friends. And I think that friends, as you grow, change in the sense of the kind of relationships that you seek out. Because with young people, it seems as though the stereotype that we have of young people is that it's all about fitting in somewhere, because that's probably important at that age. And then as you grow older, your friends are the ones that give you that support and pick you up when you're feeling down. But I want to speak about those social connections, Nazia. Just speak to us about going into a new year and how much that's going to help you having a strong support system.
Your support system is your friends as well as your family. So when you leave school, if someone has matriculated and now they don't have that friends with them every single day, it's very difficult to adjust to having that friend next to you throughout the day, helping you with your homework, sharing all your stories, to not seeing them and maybe only speaking to them once a week because they're also adjusting to a new environment. So it's very important that you try to keep these connections as much as possible. Don't isolate yourself. Make sure you try to keep those relationships. Share with them your experiences, how you've been adjusting to your new environment, and how are they coping as well. Apart from seeing them, you can always just chat to them over the phone, just to make sure you maintain that relationship so that everything is not too new for you.
Joanna, you work a lot with people when it comes to their potential and their purpose. And when I speak to you about this, I'm thinking that when we look at that festive period where you do have so much time off of everything, you have that time where you were talking about being reflective. Isn't this also a good time to start thinking about if you're a young person at school or whether you're going into a new job, whatever new environment, to be thinking, well, what do I really, really want to do with my life?
You know, we had a conversation in the snippet earlier, and I tell my people, my Lidleys, that we are all born with a soul, and our soul does come in with a particular purpose, that we have a gift to share with the world, whether it is being a good sibling, whether it is making a difference in the world, whether it's teaching or learning, or whether it is contributing to society, whether it's a small speck of grain of sand, or whether it's something global that you can offer to the world. We all have a purpose. We just need to continue to engage with the world and to engage with ourselves, the self-awareness, the mindfulness, being quiet with yourself as well as reaching out. And in that time, this is the most fascinating time of your life where you're getting to discover who you are. It's exciting, it's opportunistic, you can explore, figure out what your interests are. Nothing's set in stone. If you're not sure about hockey, try cricket. If you're not sure about drama, try singing. There's so many opportunities for you, and stick it through. So this is a time where you can recognize it's your right to explore who you are at this period.
Nazia, one of the things that drives me absolutely insane is that a lot of times in school, young people, I want to call them young people, are boxed into this is what you should be, into categories. If you're not academic, if you're not huge into sports and you're on the A team, you don't get seen. The teachers hardly, and I'm generalizing here, but a lot of the time, the young people that get a lot of attention and that get treated better are the ones that are hugely academical or are really great at sport. And what Joanna is saying, I would imagine, is so important that every young person is seeing as you do have a purpose. It doesn't matter if you're not brilliant at sport or if you're not brilliant at math. And so speak to us about what you're seeing in terms of the people that come to you and encouraging that in young people of what are you good at? What do you like doing as an individual?
We get a wide range of calls, from elderly people to people in their 30s, 40s, to people in their 20s, as well as teenagers. Teenagers who are looking for some support. They're not comfortable to speak to their friends or their parents or their teachers, and they're looking for someone who won't judge them, who will understand. And those are the types of calls that we receive. People who just want some guidance, some support. How do I understand what I'm going through? How do I develop my skills? If I'm not making my place in society, how do I find it? And my advice is that you will find it. You need to explore new avenues all the time until you find your purpose. Just because you cannot move on to medical school and become a doctor doesn't mean that there aren't any other options for you. If you call SADAG and speak to a counselor, we will be able to explain to you the different options that are available.
And really quickly, Joanna, we've got like a few seconds left, but when she's talking about that, I would like you, I think you wanted to just talk on the back of that.
Sure. Research indicates that it doesn't mean that if a highly academic child will not necessarily cope in your tertiary education or in the big world. It's self-esteem that actually carries you through. And self-esteem is the ability to bounce back. It's ability to be flexible. It's ability to engage with the world. It's ability to connect with friendships, have the right support systems, to feel resilient, to not let setbacks define who you are, to not just focus on the outcome, but to recognize your own worth. Those traits are what going to make you get through life and make you feel successful and work through the challenges that life throws at you.
Oh, thank you, ladies, so much. It was so fantastic. I could speak to you guys all day. Thank you. Well, when it comes to your future, you will know what makes you happy, just like Nazi said, and what is worth pursuing. Next time, we're going to talk about some self-help tools and practical tips for dealing with anxiety and states of panic. Until then, keep well.